Hey everybody, GT Cam here. Back to you with another video. Some expressed some concern about this particular kit. So, before I jump into this, go ahead and hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see me come up in your feed some more. With that out of the way, let's talk about this. This kit was great with having a screwdriver and a ratchet. You got a couple of extensions, but this kit only had metric sockets with it. And while that's perfectly all right for those of us that mostly deal with import stuff and even to some degree US domestic vehicles, if you work HVAC or some of the other trades, this may not work as well for you here in the US, especially since that was a foreign market kit. So, since that wasn't to some people's liking, let's push that out of the way. And what I have for you here is the 50-piece SAE and metric 1/4-inch drive socket set. And in here, we have a lot more sockets. We also have deeps. So what we've got here, we have exactly the same ratchet. I don't necessarily care for this ratchet. They're a nice ratchet, they're well executed, and they are strong for what they are. Project Farm tested it, and the snap-on broke before the Milwaukee did, which kind of hurt me a little bit deep in my heart. But especially since this whole thing, I believe, is a Taiwan kit, the finish is too good to be China. So with that in mind, what we've got 5/32 up to 9/16 in deep and shallow. This is one thing I really like here, is that they have chosen to give us exactly the same shallows as they did deeps. I've encountered a few kits where, you get an array of shallows and fewer deeps, and frequently they cut out the deeps that you kind of want. Like in a 3/8 set, I kind of like having a 19mm deep, just saying. Be that as it may, we've got metric from 5mm up to 15mm. There are no skips in this kit, so there's that for those of you who are fond of that. For me, there's certain things like I don't need 9mm, for instance. To me, 9mm is ammunition, but I digress. We got our extensions 3 and 6. We've got a universal over here. And for those that are picky about such things, these are not a shallow broach socket by any stretch. They're not as deep as some, but they are not a shallow broach, even remotely. The positive with these is if you got to go under a vehicle and you need to take a handful of sockets with you, you can set these next to you and they're still going to be there, which is more than I can say for just about every other socket on the market. If you don't have to deal with that, then it's not a concern. One other thing with these that I appreciate is because of those flats, if you take it like so and put it on a ratchet, you might find it's too thick this way. Well, what you do is you go find an appropriately sized wrench. Let's see what the calipers say. Calipers say that's about 625, 630. So you go grab yourself a 5/8 open end, or I think that's 16mm. Anyway, and you can turn that with a wrench and treat it like one of those low profile sockets. It may not be quite as low profile as some like the Quinn and the Astro and whatnot, but it's a cheat you could use with these if it came down to it and you had the wrench on hand. Though obviously, since we don't have wrenches here, you would have to add that. Overall, pretty good kit. For the fun of it, let's see how the 10mm does on the swivel. What do we get? Yeah, we got one axis that is a little loose. If that doesn't work for you, you can throw a piece of heat shrink over the top of it to help a little bit. You can use electrical tape, or I'm sure those of you that have girlfriends, she's left enough hair ties laying around, she won't miss one. Because if she missed them, they wouldn't be laying everywhere. But I digress. So, with that in mind, like I said, I'm not a fan of this ratchet. It's just funky to me. It's all right in the hand. There's just something aesthetically that bothers me, and I know that sounds petty and it's a tool, blah, blah. But let's face it, there's stuff that we like and stuff that we don't. My father really likes round head ratchets. I prefer pear heads and some of the other shapes. It's just the way life is. That said, I respect this ratchet. They're not to be sneezed at. I would take this over the DeWalt ratchet any day of the week. And if that was all I had, I would be perfectly okay with that. Overall, I like the set. I do think that for the money, there are better options out there. But if this fits the bill for you, great. It's by no means a bad set. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can possibly add to this. Yeah, I don't have anything to add. Yeah, so anyway, if there's any questions you have you want to add down in the comments, feel free. If I didn't remind you before, I'm reminding you now. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you want to see me in your feed some more. If you don't, that's okay too. So with that in mind, there's going to be some more Milwaukee stuff coming up, so stay tuned. GT Cam out.